Do not plant your peppers deep. Here's why. I can't tell you how often I hear gardeners talking about planting your peppers deep because they're in the nightshade family, and they're just like tomatoes if they're in the nightshade family, and because you can plant tomatoes deeply means that you should be able to plant peppers deeply as well. According to many gardeners, this will enhance the root system and help the plant grow bigger and stronger, except for the fact that it is 100% false. 100% false. Just because this is in the nightshade family does not mean it behaves like a nightshade. If you have a Chihuahua, it is in the same family as a Great Dane. It does not mean that you will ever have a 4-foot tall Chihuahua. They're both dogs, but they're vastly different dogs. This is the equivalent of a Chihuahua. A tomato is a Great Dane. And if you plant these deep, you're going to do one thing. Number one is you're actually going to reduce your yields, believe it or not. I have done so many experiments. There have been so many studies that show that plants produce what is called aerial support roots. And those aerial support roots, many gardeners confuse with actual roots. Aerial support roots only form up the stem roughly about a 1/2 inch high. And that is in case there is high winds, it will anchor the plant as an aerial support root, which helps to stabilize and essentially helps to anchor the plant into the ground so it's less likely to blow over. All plants can produce aerial support roots. How high depends on the plant, but that doesn't mean that you should be planting your peppers deep. Same exact thing applies to eggplants. We'll jump over to eggplants. Your eggplants are the exact same. They're in the nightshade family, but yet you don't often hear people talking about planting them deep, and I don't know why. But same thing, you shouldn't plant them deep because they form a tough woody stem that does not send down roots except for those teeny tiny little aerial roots, those aerial support roots that can form if given the opportunity. It does not mean that the entire stem will form roots. Now, what about a different crop altogether? What about a crop that's slightly leggy, like some slightly leggy cucumbers? It doesn't matter. Just because these have gotten slightly leggy, we had these in a flat with a bunch of other plants, and they got a little bit leggy on us. We started them from seed because we didn't want to direct sow the seeds here. And so yeah, I get leggy seedlings too. That's okay. But what you don't want to do is you don't want to plant these deep. If you plant them deep, it is not going to do anything to a cucumber. They're not going to send down roots because they're a vine. People say, well, tomatoes are a vine, cucumbers are a vine, right? Wrong. They don't send roots down all along the stem. What about pumpkins? Pumpkins are a vine. Now, pumpkins will send down roots along the stem, but only in certain areas. They won't send down roots through the entire stem. So burying them deep will do literally nothing. All you can do is simply bury them a tiny little bit. You can bury them by maybe a 1/2 inch to 1 inch or so, but whatever you've got there is what you got. Like I said, you're going to get a few aerial support roots about a 1/2 inch or so up the stem, and after that, that is what you got to work with. Burying them deep does not increase yields, does not help the plant health at all. If anything, it just helps to slightly anchor the plant. And so, yes, you can bury your cucumbers ever so slightly. You can bury your peppers ever so slightly, but we're talking a 1/2 inch. We're not talking 2 or 3 inches like you can with tomatoes. And the fact of the matter is I hear so many gardeners asking about planting their plants deep because they think that there's some huge benefit. And this is I would say a wives' tale or an urban legend, simply because somewhere down the line, we told ourselves that if we treat everything like we treat tomatoes, that all plants that are kind of the same growth habit, being a vine, or the same family, being a nightshade crop, that they all can be treated exactly the same. It's just not true. It's simply not true. And you're going to cause stem rot. You're going to cause the plant to be susceptible to pests, disease. You're more likely to get things like powdery mildew on your cucumbers. You're more likely to get blights on your eggplants. You're more likely to cause more damage than not, especially with peppers. There's been a study done not too recently that stated that if peppers were planted deeply, that yields were decreased by up to 50%. And it wasn't just a small study, it was done on 1,000 plants. 1,000 plants were planted at a depth of 3 to 4 inches deep. And not only were there not roots that formed, but it decreased yields. So you have unequivocal proof that this does not work. What about potatoes? A lot of you have asked, what about potatoes? You hill potatoes, they're gonna send a root. They don't. Try it. Make yourself a potato tower and bury that potato 6 feet deep or even a foot. It will send down roots, maybe about, a potato's a little different than a cucumber or a pepper. A potato will send down roots maybe about 3 or 4 inches up the stem. That's it. And those roots are not likely to produce potatoes. They are simply support roots. They're aerial roots. The potatoes form down. They form down. That's why having really loose soil is important. And that's why we don't really hill our potatoes that deep, and why a lot of gardeners think that we're crazy. All that hilling does is protect the potatoes from sunlight. It protects them from turning green. It does not give you more yield. Simply does not happen. I don't care what type of potato you're growing. It just doesn't happen. The final crop that I want to cover, that I hear all the time for some random reason, are brassicas. And with brassicas, you can bury them up to the first set of seed leaves. You can do that, but burying them much further, if they happen to get leggy, just replant. They germinate fast enough, and it's not worth stressing out your plant or causing it to die. So I hope that you guys learned something new. I hope you all were encouraged to plant your tomatoes deep, but don't plant anything else deep. It's not necessary, and you're not gonna have any better benefits. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you all learned something new. If you did, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already. And as always, this is Luke from the MIgardener channel, reminding you to grow bigger. Let's go. See ya. Bye. Hey, thank you so much for watching today's video. I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed, consider clicking this one. You'll probably enjoy it just as much. I wanna thank you for your viewership, because without it, this channel would not be as amazing as it is. Also, if you haven't subscribed, consider subscribing. It's free, and we upload videos every Monday, Wednesday, or Friday. We also have vegetable seeds, fertilizer, or tools. If you need any of those, consider visiting MIgardener.com. Links will be in the description box below. We've got you covered. And as always, we'll see you all in the garden. Take care.